mom, life, balance, and we bring you the MLB podcast,
the playbook for women struggling to make balance a priority in their lives. Welcome back to the MLB podcast. I'm Koya.
And I'm Brittany.
And we're back for
episode 5.
Did you get any Bankhead bounce?
Y'all let me down.
You checked the DMs?
No.
Oh, maybe.
No, yeah, I did.
Oh, you did? Nothing there?
No,
okay.
No.
Well,
they liked your spiritual gym.
I know, and I have other posts that I haven't posted.
Low-key viral on that.
And I need to post
Oh, y'all love God.
You love God? Oh, no, it's you don't love God. What's wrong with you?
Y'all
that
love
song.
God.
Yeah, it did do well.
Yeah, it did really
even
well.
though it was low. Sorry about that last week, guys. We've had a little technical difficulties, but we're just pushing through it. It's ghetto in the beginning, but we're just gonna keep pushing. But anyway, welcome back, episode 5. Happy to be here. It's funny because this episode is kind of like where we started. This is why we started. This was actually the very first episode was about balancing mom life. So we figured we would bring it back because that was 6 years ago. And so much has changed. Mom life has changed since then. These kids have changed. Now we have teenagers. All the things. So we figured, why not talk about how we balance mom life?
This is for the mommies.
Everything else. So first, I want to know, what is your favorite thing about being a mom?
I would have to say my favorite thing is, I can't think of one thing. I mean,
I was the same. I feel you on that.
Like I would say overall the growth. I like seeing my kids grow.
Me too.
Like I literally always go through their pictures from, how they do the album now and Facebook, and just seeing their growth. Physically, emotionally, like I'm seeing growth emotionally with my teenagers. We're talking about teenagers and that. And then I would say the other thing is I'm a better me. Like I've gotten better and better.
You're a better mom?
Yeah.
That's good.
Overall, a better mom and a better person. As, growth happens, like it's getting better. Like I can say for sure I'm not going backwards. And I think it's primarily from motherhood.
Yeah. I noticed that, how people always say, I don't want my kids to grow up. I'm like, I enjoy watching my kids grow up. I do too. Like, I think it is so cool to every year it's just like, they're different, they're new, and they're better, which is like, so good. But I think my favorite thing about being a mom is, which I guess growth kind of goes with it, but the memories. Like, especially in this phase, I think being around my kids is so fun in this phase. It's like teenage, Deuce is preteen, Riley's a teenager, and just their personalities, like they're so easy, that we have good times together, we crack jokes, like the memories that we build together on a day-to-day basis is just so fun. It's probably one of my top, but I like growth too. The growth is probably top. But after that is definitely like the day-to-day memories. Like we dance randomly in the kitchen. Like Deuce is a grouch and he'll randomly cuss out Riley for talking too much. Like it's just,
it's fun.
So
it's fun for sure.
Yeah, I'm like this.
I think we're at the stage where it's fun.
Yeah, and it's not easy, but it's fun.
No, it's not. It's not
it's
easy.
like we find the fun in it and the joy in it. So I think that's probably my favorite thing.
Yeah, they're funny, and like you said, the different personalities, because I got one that's like super sensitive, and then I got one where I told her the other day, I'm like, yo, you're getting on my nerves, and she just take it like I could just talk to her like real shit, but I could never say that to Kenzie. Then it's, oh, you hate me, you don't want me to be here. So it's like
you wish I was never born. Like
right.
whoa.
Extreme.
No one ever said that.
Yeah, so it's like I'm finally getting the hang of like, oh, okay, so I can talk to you this way, but I can't talk to you this way. And now I'm getting my groove. Like, that's what I say, it's just making me
Deuce is
better.
definitely more sensitive, but because he's a boy, I don't give a fuck. I'm just like,
you
I'm gonna talk.
Pass.
Right, you ain't getting no pass. I'm gonna talk to you exactly how I talk to Riley. Riley can take it. She a real, you know what? Like, she can handle anything. That's my tough girl. But Deuce, but he's Riley is the yapper. She talks so much.
That's what I'm talking about. Shout out to the yappers.
And Deuce is a boy, so he's like, he's a boy.
I feel like Deuce talks a lot though too.
You're right. He is a yapper. I forgot. So
yeah, Deuce be talking.
It just takes him a minute to warm up, like his dad. But in the morning, Riley be talking too much for him. And he just be over it. It's so funny because sometimes he's like, Riley, like, will you just shut up? It's so funny because I be thinking it, but I don't be wanting to say it because I don't ever want her to stop talking to me. But I just be like, girl.
It's crazy because she's so quiet. Both my kids are yappers. I'm just like, it's a girl thing.
Yeah.
They both
be talking to them.
Kenzie called me a few times this weekend, and I was like, yo.
Like, why are you calling me?
That's what I was like, why are you calling me? Like, with your daddy? Like,
yeah. But it's fun.
Momhood. So, what kind of mom are you, would you say?
I feel like I'm a good balance of, I'm definitely a fun mom. Like, for sure. Okay. I can't say that I'm not. Like, I do all the fun things. Like, I'm with all the shits when it comes to fun. And I think it goes back to the memory part. Like, I just enjoy building any kind of memories, whether it's trying to do the new dance and they laughing at me, or, planning things for us to do and just all the fun, trying new stuff that's going viral. Like, I'm that mom. But at the same time, I don't play. Like, I don't F around about.
Really?
Yeah, like, I don't
Kenzie
play about.
don't believe that about you.
I know, that's what they say. They say, oh, you don't stand on business. But the thing is, but the crazy thing is, and I think I was saying this to Kenzie, is because she was like, I never heard you yell. And I'm like, I don't have to yell. Like, I literally don't have to yell at my kids. Like, I feel like they respect whatever I say. Like, when I say I do struggle with standing on business. Like, if I get frustrated in the morning, I might be like, oh, you're not going outside next weekend. But next weekend is 7 days away, and by the 7th day, if they handle their business all week, I let them go.
It's
like,
a pass,
yeah, but if I say something and I'm like, okay, you're on punishment, I'm standing on business on the punishment. But I think when I say I don't play, I mean, like, with the routines in this house. Like, you're not going to just sit around on your phone. You're going to do the things. Well, and a lot of the routines came from my husband, and I support his routines with them, and I stand on that with them. So I think it's a good balance of, yeah, we're going to have a good time, but you got to handle your business. And that's what we say in our house a lot. Like, you got to handle your business. Like, handle your business first, and then everything else will be fun. Like, handle your chores, your training, your workout, and then everything else would just be fun. For the rest of the night, you can be on your phone or whatever. So, yeah, what kind of mom are you?
Probably old school.
You are more old school.
That's the only word I could think of. I'm old school, as in, like, but I feel like her friends think I'm fun. I look fun, but I'm not fun.
Yeah, you do look fun, but you're not fun.
Right. Like, I wouldn't say I'm a fun
but you
mom.
But you do fun things with them.
Yeah, I do fun things with them. Like, we have a good time.
Yeah, like,
and I'm an experienced girl.
Like, right, I was gonna say, I feel like you do a really good job at just curating fun experiences to do with them.
Yeah, but I'm not fun. But I look fun because I dress, I guess, cool.
Yeah.
To her, or her friends say, like, Kenzie's friends say I look young. And I'm probably more one of the younger ones with Ryland's too. She has a lot of older parents for it to be like second grade.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say I'm old school. Like, oof.
Yeah, Brittany,
I be wanting not to be sometimes, and I'm like, I cannot.
Closer to how our moms raised us than I am, for sure.
Yeah.
But
my mom was a fun mom though.
Oh, she was?
Yeah, Bonnie was a fun mom.
Oh, that's
for
cool.
sure.
I didn't know any like fun moms growing up. My mom stood on business.
I don't know how I became the opposite.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
my
the
mom
opposite.
Was old school. But yeah. Oh yeah. So maybe that's what it is. Cause okay, I can see that. Yeah.
A little correlation
there. I wonder. Let us know. Let us know if you are the same as your mom or different. I want to know. That's,
I'm curious.
I feel like that's a good.
Or what kind of mom you think there are. I used to watch this show where it talks about like all the different parenting styles, but I realize I'm like, the type of mom you are and the type of parenting style is different.
Oh yeah, that's true. You're right. I agree with that. Dang, that's a good topic, but
yeah, we got.
But not the topic for today.
Yeah, not today.
Is how we balance it all. So let's get into that. So I feel like one of the questions, I know I get a lot of questions on my platform, just kind of asking like, girl, you do all these things. My kids, they play sports, like travel sports, so that's busy, and schoolwork and all the things, right? So I get a lot of questions on like, how do you balance like priorities and still having me time? How do you think you kind of like juggle like priorities and me time?
Routine.
Yep. Same.
Super routine. As in like, my favorite saying, I run a tight ship. Like,
same. I run a tight ship too.
If I'm going away from the tight ship, it's literally like only on vacation or something.
Same.
When it's like, all right, cool, do what you want. Like,
even
when we go on vacation
days,
with the kids, we're like, yeah,
go crazy.
Off, do your thing. But when we're at home, yes, it's a very tight ship. I think kids need routine, and adults.
I agree. I completely wholeheartedly
I stand on
agree.
business on that.
Me too.
As far as like,
now that I stand on business on. Routines, I stand on business, because I feel like if you don't have a tight ship, or if you don't have a routine in your house, there's no way you can have me time. It's just impossible. Like, there's no way, because your kids are always going to feel like they're the priority, and honestly, you are, right? And I feel like I always tell my kids that too. I'm like, you are not number one on my list. I'm sorry, but I am. Well, God is, and then my man. Well, me and my man up there, and then it's y'all. Like, get out of my way. Like, and I read an article a long time ago that said that we shouldn't make our kids feel like they're, not number one, but basically, what is the word? I don't know what it is, but basically number one in our lives, because what it does is when they grow up, they're going to think that everybody around them should be catering to them, and that's just not real life, right? So me with my priorities, my me time, like, I don't play. Y'all see me like online, like I get up every single morning at 5:30, 6 o'clock, and that is my me time. Like, my doors are closed on my office, and I'm just like, just don't talk to me. Riley will come in yet. Riley don't care, but I have to tell her, like, girl, I need a moment. That's why I have to do it early. But now she wake up early, and I'm just like, girl. But yeah, I mean, I agree. Running the tight, she is definitely following me, and it's so cool to watch, because she's following me with waking up early. So she wakes up so early. I'm like, why are you up? Like, it is too early, but she's doing whatever the hell she's doing up there, and she's getting herself ready, and she has ample time, and she never feels rushed, and whenever she does, she feels like all over the place. But she's doing what she has to do for the things that's important for her in the morning, which I love to see. Even with prepping for the week, like getting out her clothes, she gets out her clothes for the week, and I'm just like, it's crazy to watch like how your kids kind of mimic you,
and you don't even realize it.
And I'm just happy that I'm being that example for her. My mom was that example for me.
For you?
Yeah, like she cooked us breakfast. I always say this, like, every single morning. We never went a morning without like a home cooked breakfast. And we're like, as I don't cook breakfast every morning, but I do cook lunch every single day for my kids. But yeah, I'm kind of getting off subject. But it's really back in. That's why I shouldn't be Mike A. She's usually Mike A. But definitely thinking that routine, running a tight ship, is really the key to having a balance in like your priorities and your me time, for sure. It's on your routine.
Well, I was gonna say, when I say tight ship though, because I feel like with you, it's two different, like the way we run it, but it works. So like when I run a tight ship, I just have a lot of structure in my home. But I feel like when you run a tight ship, you have more like schedule and organization, because I don't have a lot of schedule and organization in my routine.
So when you say structure, what's the structure? Like, give me an example.
As in, like, there's a bedtime for sure. Like, there's a bedtime every Sunday. We praise God together, and I prefer to do it in person, unless it's like I don't feel good, then we'll do it virtually. Dinner by a certain time. But it's not like the same time. But I just like to have them fed maybe before 7:30 is my goal. I cook maybe 3 to 4 times out the week.
I feel like we have the same thing.
Really? Because I feel like you're way more like...
The only difference is, because I do all of those things too. Like, every day I stop what I'm doing at 4 o'clock and I cook dinner. So is that what you mean? Like, there's more structure in my day? Like, because maybe because... And maybe because the kids are they play multiple sports, so our schedules are a little more hectic.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking more, because you have it like more organized, like on your calendar, versus
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, like it's more like laid out in a
correct
schedule versus
I see what you're saying. Yours is just there, like in your mind, you know that this thing is so right. I have things that just naturally occur, like 4:00. Actually, naturally, I just do that. Or to your point, because I like to have dinner done by a certain time, because I either want them to eat before practice or it'll be ready after practice. But I don't like eating late. But there's, to your point, very laid out things as far as the routines, and like, okay, when y'all get home from school, these are the things that you have to do. You do your work, and then like my husband has it mapped out to where on Mondays they train outside and do this. On Tuesdays,
that's what I mean by
they do this. On Wednesdays, the trash, the dishes. Right, correct. There, that is very mapped out. And really, I just feel like it wasn't for the longest. It wasn't actually until maybe the last year that we actually started mapping it out so detailed. And it's because I just don't like having to repeat myself. I don't like having to say, like, did you do this? Where it's like, okay, it's here. Y'all know it's here. And you know that this is the day. And if it's not done, it's going to be an issue, So that became easier. Like, even like setting timers in their phones to say, I think at 8:00 every day, the timer goes off for Riley to let Remy out. Because she's just not, these kids, they just be so wrapped up in their world. They're not going to do it, right? So it's like basically us just implementing things, and reminders or whatever, so they can look at the board. Because I get it, like my kids have really, really busy lives, and trying to balance school, like they're trying to balance all the things too, social lives and whatever they forget. And it's like, all right, we don't want to be reprimanding y'all for forgetting all the time. Like, let's try to figure out why you're forgetting. And that's when we started implementing, like, okay, let's lay it out, like let's
that's
let
probably
this thing
what I
out.
need, though, because I do repeat myself a lot. And my rule is, if I say it the third time, I am yelling. Yeah. But my child thinks I yell a lot. But that's because we get to the third time. Yeah. But at some point, I want to have scheduling organization. But I think I want to wait until they're both, like, Ryland's still too young. Yeah. So it's kind of hard to do it with one and not the other. So I kind of like to do it together. Actually
kind of cool. Like, so younger is actually when it's best, especially because they like checking off things. So if it was like on the refrigerator, she would probably enjoy or putting a sticker on like the different things. So it's kind of a different way to incorporate it when they're younger, and it's easier when they get older because she'll already kind of be in the routine of that. But and
then that would just be implementing a change. Because every time you do something different with kids, then you gotta wait for it. That's just with anything. I guess. Like, you gotta wait for it to. Because I think we tried it with food. Like, we tried to do a little kind of schedule with food, and it worked. But then it just wasn't. We weren't consistent. Yeah. So that's why I was like, I just gotta add it in with the chores and stuff. Yeah. So that's what I was thinking, as far as like, we both do a great job at like the routine, but I think yours is way more better because you actually have the scheduling organization.
Yeah, I hate questions. I hate repeated questions. I hate repeating myself, and I hate repeated questions. And so anytime I think about anything that someone's constantly asking me, I'm like, all right, what do I need to do to get these questions away from me? Like, even with our families, them asking what time the kids' games are every single week drives me nuts. Like, there's literally like 5 games every single week. And so last year we got this Team Snap app, and we put all the games, times, locations, everything in there. We added the whole entire family. Anybody that wants access I just get their email. They have access. So every single week they know exactly where the game is, what time it starts, what field it's on, like all of that. Like, I hate repeated questions. So that's really the reason why I do it. Like, whenever I have an attitude, I implement a system. Like, period.
Yeah, that's good. I just deal with it.
Yeah, I can't deal with that. I feel like we have too much that we have to deal with. I don't want to deal with that shit.
And you are so correct. And that's why I was like, that's something I need to do a better job at, because I can be passive with certain things, and that's probably one of them.
Do you think but you're still organized though? You just kind of you are more free-spirited. Free planning, like, you don't you're just more like go with the flow of things,
especially for my life. For my life, I am super free spirited. With the kids, I'll have like their appointments on my calendar, but as far as like what you're saying, how you have it broken down, no, I need to. It's getting to the point now where I do need to. So I would say that would definitely help. But it works for some reason though, because I don't feel like, which we can get into, that I'm losing myself in motherhood. But I think it is because it is a still structured routine, wherein that I get my me time and I feel like they get their time, and then we get school time done, and then we have time for God, and then we have time for friends, and we have time for vacations. So I'm pulling it all in. It's just not, it could use some tweaking.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everybody should do what works for them. If it's working, but I do think it's important to also know, like, oh, okay, we can tweak a little bit, and then maybe if it matters to you,
because the repeating part does annoy me. Yes. But I think in my mind, I've just gotten used to, like, you have to repeat yourself with kids. So I just continue to, like, yeah, well, but that's what I made up in my head, because I'm like, I literally tell my child to brush her teeth every day and bathe, and she still.
I mean, she's little though, but I mean,
Kinsey too sometimes, like, and not Kinsey gonna bathe. Yeah, and I ain't gonna put her on blast on that, but it's still little things like put your rubber bands on with your, sure. It's just I'm just so used to repeating myself that I think I just suck it up.
You're
and
just
do
like,
it.
okay, this is a part of mommy.
This is a part of mommy, right?
Repeat.
Exactly.
But I'm not repeating myself. If I'm repeating myself, something's happening. I'm taking a phone. I'm taking something, because I can't do it.
That's a life that I would love. I can't have it.
And they know it. I'm like, look, y'all already know, if I say it after that, I'm taking something, because you're too distracted. Give me the phone.
My kids will continue to try.
Give me the phone. Yeah, my kid. Yeah,
I think they used to me saying it. They probably like, she got to be on 3. Now we need to tighten up. Like, my kids definitely be trying me. But yeah, I don't feel like I'm losing myself. But I want to say, so we both been moms since we were, was it 22?
22, turning, well, I think I was about to turn 23. I can't remember. I think I had Riley right before I turned 23. So I had her in December. I turned 23 in January.
Yeah, so pretty much all of our lives. I know I didn't get too much done between high school and 22. Like, what was we doing? Nothing. But what I will say is, when I was reflecting on it with this topic, the moment when I got pregnant with Kinsey, I'm not gonna lie, I did cry, because I was like, oh man, but I more so cried because I wasn't married. That's a whole nother thing. But I never felt like I was going into motherhood like, oh, I'm not gonna have a life. Right. Like, I never
Me neither.
felt like that. And I said, even when I had my second child, that I would just continue to create the life that I want. Like, I'm not gonna allow motherhood to take control of me. I'm in control of motherhood. And so what that looks like for me is whatever it is. I'm still going to vacation, which I honestly didn't really start going to vacations until I had kids. I didn't start working out until maybe 3-4 years, because I snapped back with Kinsey. I didn't have to work out, but eventually I said I wanted to, work out. Remember we started working out with Talia? We just kind of woke up and wanted to work out. It wasn't like we were like out of shape or anything.
I was working out though.
Oh, you are already?
Oh yeah,
that's good for you.
I'll never forget. Actually, Ruben, my husband, would have, as soon as I got cleared, I was at the gym. And then Riley, he would work out with me. We would take Riley together, and we would leave her in like this is at LA Fitness. They had a little kid area, and it was like a little Hispanic lady, and she would always have Riley, and she would just be knocked out. Yeah, I was
that's nice.
From 3 months. After, I think 3 months, because I didn't want to take her into the gym until she was 3 months. But yeah, at 3 months, I was in the gym.
Yeah, that's good.
I've always enjoyed working out though. Like,
well, that's what I was going to say. I didn't start, because I feel like some people will start because they're like, oh, well, I've gained this weight from momhood and this and that. But I actually do it fully for me.
Yeah, I do too. So I do think when I started going hard, when I was so ready then, was to your point, my mindset was always, just because I have a kid, I'm not about to lose myself into just because I just had a baby. Like, we outside, I'm about to get fine. Like, I'm still going to be a fine mom. I'm still going to get dressed every single day. Like I've always had that mindset. Like, I am not getting lost in motherhood. So I think that was one of the reasons I was like, when am I cleared? What can I do? Because mama got to get in the gym. Like, and then I think eventually working out. So at first, even before that, even in college, when I was at West Georgia, I used to go work out. I used to go by myself to the gym. I didn't know what I was doing, but it was something about it that just gave me joy. I didn't know what I was doing or anything like that, but I used to go. And then after Riley, I started like being like, oh, okay, like I actually enjoy this. And then to your point, now it's completely for me. Like I'm just like, I have to have that moment where I'm just getting it in, letting it out, and moving my body. If not, I just feel like all crunchy, and that could be
it's like a recharge, refresh.
Yeah,
for me.
But I've always been like, no, I'm getting dressed. I didn't want to be the mom that was just like,
same.
Oh, just sitting in the house. And I stayed at home with Riley until she was 3, I want to say, or almost 3. And even though I was a stay-at-home mom, well, actually, I was a stay-at-home mom until Riley was like, if we really want to be. I went to work when she was 3, but then I stopped 6 months earlier. So 6 months later. So I never really worked like that. So let me not say that. I just started working. Like even like with my business, that didn't start until 2013. So Riley's 10. Okay, so yeah, 3 years. Is when I started working. But anyway, even though I was at home with her, like we had a routine. Like I would get up, I would get her dressed, I would get dressed. We would go through like little "Your Baby Can Read" flashcards. Like, and then I would pause. I would leave her with Ruben, and I would go work out, and then or drop her off at like they had like local church things where she could go for like a few hours, and I would always find those and drop her off just so I can go have some alone time or you know whatever time. Like I've always just been really big on feeling myself and not just being like mom or whatever. But
creating the motherhood experience that you want. I think people, and it's just my opinion, no shade or anything, but I think a lot of times when the balance leaves, I feel like
when someone says no shade, they're about to throw shade. But go ahead.
It's no shade. It's just no shade. But yeah, when it's hard for balance, I think a lot of times like either the kid is controlling your life.
Yes. And that goes back to making the kid feel like they're number one in your life. It's just you just can't have balance if a kid feels like they're number one. That's
because these kids gonna leave you.
The kids are gonna leave you. They're gonna disappoint
Especially if you got a boy.
Right, they're gonna leave you. They're gonna disappoint you. They're gonna do things that you never even expected, and you're gonna be like, "Wait, this is the kid that I raised." Like, so you're not about to annoy me for 18 years. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I'm just gonna make this experience good because I don't want to wait. When I thought about it, I was like, when you look at like back in the day, like people literally used to put their life on hold until after their kids leave 18, 21. And it's like, what? Now I'm left with how many years to now live my life? Like, no, I'm going to make it a good experience with these kids.
Same.
I'm not waiting until the end. And I feel like that's, to your point, that's what kids need to see. Like, I remember seeing my mom still go out and dress cute and look nice.
My mom did too.
And although she lived a completely different lifestyle from me, it was her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She was not like all about us when it comes to like not having some type of like social life or anything. And I like seeing her get cute and dress up.
My mom dressed up.
Go out with her
day.
friends. Yeah, I like seeing that. And so now I think, you know, my kids see me do the same thing. It's going to teach them, you know, it's time to live their life.
Yeah. And just look, sidebar, the whole getting up and getting dressed. I think that's so important. Like, even for these kids, I know a lot of kids are like hoodie kids and like, but you know, how you present yourself, like how you get up. When like you look good, you feel better. Like, it's just, you never know who you're going to run into. And I feel like setting that example for them is helping too, because, you know, Riley does not play about how she goes out and like how she looks. And not in like a very vain way, but just more so in a, you know, get ready for the day. Like, just put in a little effort into life. You know, like just don't let we already talked about that. Don't let life just pass you by. Like, even if it's, you know, a sweatsuit or, you know, like a 2-piece set that matches. Even if you're just sitting around the house, which is why Kenzie's like, Koya, you the only adult that I see wear pajamas. And I'm like, girl, I love my pajamas. And I love being in my room or just like around my man in my pajamas.
That's my thing.
Yeah, it's my thing.
Everybody should have their thing.
Absolutely.
I feel like another thing that affects balancing it all that I never experienced this, but I see it a lot online is the mom guilt. Like I never, if I'm going out, I am not like, oh, I'm leaving these kids. Like even when they were a baby, like hey, you going to your grandma's house? Like I don't want to hear it, whether you want to be there or, and they're more vocal now, where they're sometimes they just want to stay at home and they may
Which
not.
they're old enough now, so it's like, all right.
Yeah, but sometimes depending on how long I'm gone, no, you are going to your grandmother's house, and you still need to spend time with your grandmother. It should not just be a like, oh, mommy's going out, this is the only time you go. They're like, you still need to spend time with her. True. So I'm real big on that, but I never experienced mom guilt. But for people who do, my recommendation is that
I'm thinking hard.
No. What's our favorite saying?
Fuck these kids.
I had to have you say it.
Like, seriously, though. Like, F these kids. Because we said it already. They're going to grow up and they're going to leave you. Like, it's okay. It's okay. And I'm sure you're a great mom. Like, it's the craziest part because like it be the best moms feeling mom guilt. It be the ones who ain't good moms who like they just outside not doing nothing. Kids failing on like and they outside they don't give a damn. But yeah, it be like the best moms who just be feeling like, oh my god, I feel so bad because I'm like I don't. So I have experienced it a little bit, a teach.
It must have been like newborn stage.
Hell no, not newborn stage. Newborn stage, I was.
Oh, I'm trying to figure out when did you experience it? Where was I at?
Mom guilt recently, like in the pandemic phases when I was like work, go hard. And I remember Deuce made a comment.
In the pandemic.
Deuce made a comment like. He said something like, "You always working," or "You always something like that," and I was like. For like 30 seconds, I think I felt mom guilt, and I was like, "Dang, I am." But I was in a time where I was working like a whole lot, and I just was like missing stuff, and that's not really who I am. That is not even who I wanted to be as a mom. So that's why I had to like restructure my whole life because I don't want to be that mom that misses a lot. I don't mind missing some stuff because, again, if I want to go do something, I'm going to do it. If you got a game, oh, well, y'all got 1 million games a year. So if I miss 10, oh, well. But I did feel like I was kind of like falling off on just kind of creating those memories with them.
Because that's what they were used to.
Yeah, and that's what they were used to. And that's when I started feeling like, ooh. And that I don't know if that's mom guilt or more so like feeling God saying like, or more convicted, like, girl, you need to switch it up because this is not who you are. And that kind of like changes.
Mom guilt.
Yeah, that's what I said. I don't know if it's mom guilt. I don't think it is.
I don't know if I classify that as mom guilt.
So okay, maybe I've never felt mom guilt, but yeah, I agree. F these kids. I just we say it all the time. All of our friends, all of us, we all feel the same way. F them.
I seen
in the best way.
I seen a mom and a dad. I guess they had their first little like vacation on it was like on a Facebook reel or something. But anywho, I guess they went to the club on the resort. And you know how the girls come out the bottles with the sign, and the sign said "F these kids." I was like, I said these parents not playing. Take control of your life.
I think a lot of parents are taking control, and I love that.
And that's how you balance it. Honestly, that's wrapping it up. Like that's the best. That's the best thing. Take control of your life. Don't let these kids rule you. I know a lot of people are getting more into like gentle parenting, but I do think you can find a way to gentle parent and take control of your life.
Agreed.
I think there's times to gentle parent, and then there's times where like you said, you got to stand on business. Like these kids are manipulative.
Facts. We don't gentle parent. I don't gentle parent in my house, but
a lot of people
judgment.
Are going
I'm
more
like,
towards it.
And I don't want to say. Yeah, no judgment for anybody.
Not
it don't work for me because again, I don't like repeating myself, and I feel like as a gentle parent,
you would have to repeat yourself.
You have to repeat yourself.
You have to sit down.
And
you have to talk about
in
it.
Which I do explain. Like my kids do know. Like everything that they do, they know why they're doing it. Like there is an explanation behind every single thing that they do, whether it's why they have to put their phones up at 9 p.m. at night or 9:30 at night, whether it's why they have to train every single day and work on something. They understand why they're doing it. I believe in telling kids, like explaining to kids.
Yeah, like be
because
expressive.
I feel like we grew up in like a because I said so era.
Yeah, my mom actually allowed us to be expressive, so I do allow my kids to be expressive, but that doesn't mean that. and this is just me, just because I express myself to you or someone expresses that to me does not mean that it's gonna go your way.
Right, it's gonna change. Yeah, I'm like, girl, the rules. The
safe
rule.
space, right? The safe space is that you can express yourself, because you're right. We grew up in a time where you couldn't even say how you feel. It was I'm right, you're wrong, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Or it was not talking back. You just
or anything you gotta say, you're talking back, or So by all means, I'll listen to what my kids have to say. Well, why do you feel that way, or whatever? But that doesn't mean the story change. You know what I mean? The narrative's gonna change, or it's gonna work in your favor.
It still is what it is, baby. The phone's getting put up, or whatever it is, it's still happening. You're still getting.
Kenzie tried to run that one on me. Why can't I just have an Instagram and you have the password? And I was like, yeah, but that's just not what I want to do in my house. Like. Sorry.
I
mean, everybody run their house different.
Absolutely.
But you got to stand on business on how you run it. It's to your point. So, balancing it. So another thing, you're a wife, and I co-parent. We both do it very well.
We do.
I can speak on co-parenting with balancing. I am extremely big on I can only control what goes on in my house.
You're a great co-parent.
And that's, I think, what makes me a good co-parent, as in that whatever's going on in my house, it's my house. And I think a lot of times when kids are in two different houses, either parent wants to control what's going on, but you have to, hey, this is what we're doing in my house, and maybe, someone else is doing something different in their house, but you still have to talk about it and find some type of happy medium. And that's what I do. Because if I don't co-parent, I lose me time. And I am so...
She don't play about her mommy free. That's a mommy free weekend?
She's like even sometimes, dads do some things where you're like, and I got two cool dads. So they do things where I'm like, yeah, nah, I wouldn't do that. But for the sake of my me time, go off then. Like,
go crazy.
Like, I can't have it all. The kid is already in two different homes. So I'm real big on like some things is, either time or money, or, it's not going to be my way or the highway. Like, I'm not big on that. We both got to find a way to be on the highway together, and you can, what I'm saying, and the child can be happy. So that's how I balance it. And that I honestly relinquish a lot of control. It took some time. And I think that a lot of people struggle with that in co-parenting. It took a lot of time, but once I realized that, it helped out a ton. When it comes to co-parenting, because we both need our time.
She actually has it's an older episode on co-parenting with her and Kenzie's dad, and it's really good. They're great co-parents. Like, they really, really are. Everybody have their little hiccups, but I think they do a great job at co-parenting. Kenzie, y'all alternate weeks, right? Yeah, and they've been doing that forever, and I had never heard of that. I feel like they were doing it before. I just never heard of such a thing. I was like, wait, y'all doing what? And she was like, we alternate.
We used to do every other day. And now it was every other day.
Which is crazy.
That we even were able to do that. And then now it's every other week. And same thing with Rylan. But yeah, I got to a point where I was like, I really value my time. And some things I just had to let go. And then a lot of over communication. I have to over communicate.
Yeah, she's a communicator. But you have to be. You have to be, especially just with raising kids, because these kids will try you and they'll try to manipulate certain situations. So you definitely have to be in communication with whether the other, with the parent. But
do you feel like you're doing anything different? Because I feel like I see just as many wives lose themselves, as mothers. It's a pretty taskful job as well.
Oh, like being a wife? Like lose themselves and becoming a wife, being a wife.
Yeah, and with kids.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to do.
Oh, you're right. Because it's a lot. It is definitely, it's not
like one either sacrifices the other, but you do a good job at like balancing it all. So do you feel like there's anything in particular other than like what we've talked about, or?
Honestly, I think it still goes back to, for me, it all goes back to routine. Yeah, if I'm so and being intentional about the routine. Like, I'm intentional about saying like, oh, we haven't gone out together, like things like that, or we haven't just sat down and watched a movie, or just very intentional about, still maintaining wife life and like just I'm home when he's throughout the day. It's me and him typically. So just kind of even, I know I'm usually like tunnel vision, working. But even sometimes just sneaking like, oh, let's go get lunch. Let's go, just small things just to make sure we're still having our time together. But when it comes to parenting with him, it's been a journey because raising a boy is not easy, and not in a bad way. It's just like, the mom in you wants to coddle him a little bit, or just, and he's such a good kid, so you just want to be nice and you just want to hug on him. You just want to, it's your boy, and my husband does not play that shit. Like, he is, and for a while we used to bump heads. Like, for years we would bump heads because I just didn't understand. I was just like, dang, it ain't like I'm like try to make him be a little girl. Like, I just be wanting a little time sometimes. Like, and he would just be like, no, like, he is a boy. He has to be raised differently. And then as Deuce has started to grow and mature, and just like really seeing like when I relinquished, like, okay, you know what, that's your son, go crazy, like whatever you need to do. I was so tired of going back and forth and like butting heads with my husband. I'm like, you know what, I had to pray on it for like the longest because I just didn't understand it. And then once I started to understand it and I started to see the difference in like just letting him raise our son. I mean, obviously I'm here too, but Deuce is raised by his daddy. Like, he's his daddy's son. He's his daddy's son. Like, he is with his dad probably 85% of the time. I see Deuce maybe 10% of the time Deuce is with me. And I just see like the maturity in him, the even like how he presents himself when we're out and about. Like, they call him the governor because he's gonna always speak to everybody. He just like holds himself like a little man, and like it's just, and it really took for me. And even with Riley, like, I had to relinquish the control of me just always being like, dang, you're just trying to be too mean, and this the fun mom. Oh, you're trying to, like, you're just not fun, like, you don't want to do anything. And it's like, no, kids need structure, like, yes, life, like, these are not your friends. That's what he always, these are not your friends. I'm like, I don't want them to be my friends. But yeah, it's just letting him lead. I literally just had to let him lead, and now I follow. So whatever he says, I'm just like, well, that's what it is. And I had to even like fall back from being like, well, don't do that. Your daddy. And I'm like, nope, because I'll say like, well, no, I said it. Like, I make it come from me so that they can feel like, oh, okay, well, they're a team. Like, oh, they're on. So basically they can gang up on us, and it's not us feeling like, or them feeling like, oh, I'm on their side and everybody's against dad, even though he still be feeling that way. But it's really not. It's really not like that. Like, I be on his team. I'm on his team, and it's not easy. Yeah, it's not easy.
That's three things you gotta balance. Yeah, it's just like you, kids, then him, then y'all gotta bring it
then
together.
Everybody,
yeah, it's like 4 different things. Yeah, but I heard on a podcast where I can't remember. I don't know if it's a podcast or something I read, but it was saying like the key to balance is not actually having it balanced.
No.
But being able to identify in certain areas where you're going to have to sacrifice one for the other.
Yep.
And
that's exactly
I think
what it is.
So people think balance is like
doing everything.
Yeah, like I'm going to give everything 25% to give it 100 maybe. And that's actually not it. Like, sometimes, no lie, you might suck a little as a parent, and not because
it's a seesaw.
Yeah, like you're a shitty parent.
It's a seesaw.
But it just might be an area that you're struggling right now. Like, I think me as a teenage mom, I don't think I'm the best. I mean, my child rated me an 8 out of 10, but
it's pretty good.
That's what she said.
Right.
And she's pretty honest. Like, she wouldn't just tell me anything. But I don't know, if I had to rate myself, I give myself a 6 out of 10. It is, this teenage thing for girls is hard for me. Where now I'm nervous, when it's time for Rylan. So I feel like the mom part teenager, I've like tanked a little, but then I've like gotten better maybe in some other areas. So you're, like you said, it is like a seesaw.
Yeah, it's like a seesaw. Like, certain seasons, that's what I'm like. I consider, when I look at balance, I look at seasons. Like, okay, in one season you might be a great mom doing all the things, whatever, and then the next season you might have to work harder and you can't put as much into the kids. And I'm okay as long as the seesaw or the whatever. What, not the seesaw? Was that what it's called when we were kids? What is that thing called?
Yeah, seesaw.
It's called seesaw.
Yeah, up down,
okay.
up down.
Yeah. So as long as it's doing like the little up down,
or you're
up,
saying
down,
like a scale,
or a scale,
okay,
right? Or a scale, and it's like kind of, as long as it's not going too far up, too far down, and staying there for a long time, just like a big person sitting on one side, flying up. Yeah. Like, I'm cool with that. Like, I understand. I think that's a part of balance. Like, you just have to know, like, it's gonna go up, down, up, down,
it's gonna
up,
go
down.
up, down. But it has to keep doing that.
It has to keep doing that. You have to be so intentional about making sure, like, when you see that you're on one side too long, it's like, whoop. Let me come over here. Yeah, it's just kind of like that balancing. That's the balancing act. Like, that's literally what it is. It's a balancing act.
Yeah. You have to give yourself grace in that. Absolutely. And accept it and be okay with it. Because if you're in one space too long, I feel like something's wrong.
Agreed.
Like something's wrong.
I agree.
You just can't be in that part. So, so yeah.
It's so funny because we were talking about this episode and we were like, I like to research like what you guys need help with, or like what are you guys searching for, like what are you Googling, like where do you need help, so we can come up with these topics. And so we randomly Google like what are like the top things that moms are searching for, or something like that. And then Brittany came across an article, and it was like the most Googled questions from moms for different states, right? And so as she was reading through, I was cracking up because some of them are so funny. So we're just gonna go through a few of them real quick. Do you have the list? Is it like a list
I got
pulled
it
up? Yeah, it was so random because we're like on the phone just kind of like going through, and I'm like, well, search this, and she was like, I just came across this random list.
I like the fact that people are actually like, and don't get me wrong, I Google some wild stuff, but some of these questions I'm like, I would not think to Google this.
Same.
Like,
yeah, same.
So what we want to start with?
Start with Georgia, because I feel like we're here.
Why do kids wet the bed?
Yeah, I've never had to Google that.
Yeah. I wonder what answer they got. Why do kids wet the bed?
I wonder what answer too.
I don't know. Let's go down to Florida.
Oh, yeah. Florida's wild.
How to help a child lose weight without making them feel bad. It's funny. I'm like, I wish she had listed the answers.
Yeah, I want to know. I want to know what it said.
All right. What's California? Why are kids so loud?
I want to know that.
It kind of lets you know reminds you of like, or not, sorry, reminds you, it makes you think of like the culture there or whatever, like
but I recently read an article that said when kids are loud, it means that they're happy because they feel safe, or they feel safe because when they're safe they feel comfortable to be loud.
They're in a safe space.
Right, whereas kids who are a little more quiet and timid don't usually feel like they're in a safe space. I thought that was interesting because Riley's loud as hell, man. I just be like, why are you so loud?
Both my kids are loud.
I'm like, I don't Google it, but I damn sure ask it. I'm like, well, why are you so loud?
Yeah, I wouldn't think to Google that.
Yeah.
New York. What is ADHD in kids? That's fair.
That's fair. I feel like everybody, at this point, I feel like everybody has ADHD.
Texas. Why do kids stare?
That's your question.
What?
No, not why you stare, but I feel like Brittany has asked. You've never Googled it, but Brittany be like, why kids be staring?
Oh yeah, my kids be staring at me though. I probably. Yeah, my kids be staring at me. I just caught my 7-year-old staring at me. I was like, what are you looking at? Like
that, I would be creeped out if my kids just sat and stared at me.
The best thing you can ever do is if you catch somebody staring at you, ask them that, because they never know what to say.
Oh yeah,
you gotta call them out.
Yeah, I'm sure they say something like, "I wasn't even looking at you," and it's like, "Yes, you were." Maybe they be daydreaming.
I don't know.
Do we have another one?
Oklahoma. Why do kids lie?
Facts.
You already know
I don't know if I would Google that, but
Nevada said, when do these kids go back to school?
Now, I wouldn't Google that, but maybe if it was more of like the calendar, for sure. I feel you.
Mississippi, am I a good parent?
I feel like you should never have to Google that. I don't think Google or Chat GPT or anybody,
I don't know what Gemini said,
to tell you.
Or Siri.
how if you are a good parent. Like what? Who was asking that question? Somebody that cares way too much.
So California asked, why are kids so loud? Louisiana said, why won't my kid be quiet?
That's the same thing.
I know. They want these kids to shut up.
These kids be yappers.
Indiana, how many teeth do kids have?
That's valid. I mean, I don't know why so many people are Googling that because I don't know the answer. I can't remember.
Arizona, at what age can kids stay at home long? They trying to be in these streets.
I feel you. They
trying to be in these streets
I've
in
probably
Arizona.
Googled that. No, you know what I've Googled? At what age can kids sit in the front seat? I think because my kids always trying to fight over the front seat, and so I think I was just really trying to Google it to be like, you ain't even old enough. But I think I've Googled at the age that you can leave them at home too.
It's a
10. Now that I think about it, it's 10.
I think it's 10. Well, I think it varies by state. Maybe that's why
I think it varies by state too. And my kids, I can't remember when they started staying at
This one was funny to me. Maine, why do toddlers bite? They just bite kids.
My kids were biters. I should have Googled that, but I just figured it was bad. Both of my kids were biters. Just badass little kids.
Oklahoma, why do kids lie?
Another one. And then some states had multiple. I mean, had the same thing.
Yes, which is
there was one about autism.
Oh, Washington, why do kids eat boogers?
That's disgusting.
Koya act like she ain't never eat no boogers.
I don't ever recall eating a booger.
Every child has ate a booger.
I'm not gonna say I haven't. I'm just saying
in their belly button and smelled it.
I've done that, but I just don't ever recall eating a booger.
It's random.
And you know what?
You can stuff between your toes.
My kids didn't know that their belly button stink, and I said, "Do y'all wash it? You never
now
did
that is a valid question to ask.
Why does the belly button stink?
Why it's enclosed? I don't know. I need to know. And I clean mine. It's like I get in
I
there.
do too, but I think.
It has a very
it's like a
different smell.
It smells like the earring, like your earring.
The back.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either, but I don't know.
One
more.
Okay, one more. Ooh, I like this one. West Virginia, why is my kid cursing? That's for you. We talked about that on the episode.
That's definitely for me.
These kids be cursing.
The kids definitely be cursing.
Ooh, go off then.
My kids be cursing, and it is what it is. I'm like, kids, I guess they all. I think back. I'm like, I guess all kids curse. I mean, they don't curse in front of like us, but they be cursing, honey.
They definitely be cursing.
They be cursing. These kids be cursing. Like grown little people. I'll never forget. Recently, I was home, and they didn't know I was home, and they came home from school together. And they was just talking downstairs, just loud. I was upstairs in my room, and dudes was cussing somebody out talking to Riley, and I'm just going.
They say the kids that be playing the game be cussing too.
No,
they be going
kids
off.
that play the games definitely be cursing because dudes. I'm like, shut your door and stop all that cursing. Like that's look, that's the kind of mom I am.
Right, I'm like now. Fun
Stop
mom.
all that cursing. But no, even with, because he was like cursing at school, and then the teacher called us or whatever.
About the cursing?
Yeah, about the cursing.
What?
Because they go to, down
These
here in this
these
area,
teachers,
it's a little
man.
different. Yeah, so they
call
called us
everything.
because I guess it was like playing sports and stuff. You know how it is. Like, you're going to get called, whatever you're going to get called while the boys are playing sports. And so she called us, and then I was just like, I was more appalled, like, oh my God, you shouldn't be cursing at school, or, whatever. And it was Ruben, my husband, was like, kids curse. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we grew up cursing, and like they know that they should be cursing around
I'm just
adults.
big on
Like,
don't get caught.
Yeah,
I
you should
think-
be and be respectful. Like, don't be cursing around adults.
Right.
Like, don't be doing nothing crazy. But at the end of the day, like, these kids don't curse. I got bigger problems. I can't worry about cursing.
I'm trying to tell you.
I just.
That's why I don't like when teachers call about petty stuff. Like, get your kids.
Yeah.
That's why they on your dime now. Like, they on your time. Like, I'm off until.
Now I'm off.
I'm off until 4:00. Get your kids.
Yeah, don't call
These
me
teachers do
about
not
cursing.
be wanting their kids, but whatever. That's another topic. We gonna get into that.
Not teachers don't be wanting their kids.
They don't be wanting their
These parents
kids.
don't be wanting their kids.
I want my kids when it's my time, and my time is from 4 to 7 a.m.
Oh,
4 p.m.
All right. Well, I hope that this has been a good refresher. I hope we answered questions that you guys have been wondering, because I literally get the question all the time, and so
How do you balance it?
I know they're like, you do so many
Girl, worry about
things.
yourself.
I'm
just
like,
playing.
girl, I am very intentional about all the things that I do, and that's how I do so many things.
Yeah, that's the moral of
Literally,
it.
that's it. That's
Moral
it,
of the
that's all.
story. But you got to be intentional.
Yeah, and
For
that's
sure.
it. You gotta, you
Take
gotta
control
be, you
of your
gotta be
life.
dead ass serious about yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and I am. You should be too. See you next week.